If there's one thing that Alex doesn't lack, it is confidence. But a lot of people call him arrogant. And I asked him, are you arrogant or are you confident? And I think I got under his skin a little bit, but he was good-natured about it. I am proud to announce today's sponsor, which is none other than Roto Riot, specifically the Roto Riot Hype Train motors. Johnny, tell us a little bit about them.
The Hype Train Vanover motor marks Hype Train's first race motor offering. Designed for absolute maximum racing performance, this motor is an exceptional choice for freestyle as well, taking a ton of abuse while staying smooth. Developed with the direct input of drone racing champion Alex Vanover, the Hype Train Vanover clocks in at 1860 kV, perfect for 6S pilots looking for a superb competition motor. With a state-of-the-art 2207.5 core, the Vanover motor has an incredible response time which allows you to fly precisely on the racetrack. It flies smooth and has a very predictable throttle curve. The motor core is made with single-strand, heat-resistant copper windings. This motor configuration allows advanced pilots to run a lower DMAG setting, which results in increased power output and efficiency with reduced risk of desync. With these motors on your quad, you will not only have the fastest quad on the track, but also the best looking one. If you ask Alex, the navy blue belt cuts through the air faster than any other color.
So there you see, the Hype Train Vanover motors are no joke, and you can get your own with the code ROTOROLLINS. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. ROTOROLLINS gets you 10% off your next Hype Train purchase. Appreciate the sponsorship, Roto Riot. Y'all keep making good content. So let's talk about your training now. What are you doing to give yourself the edge on the next round, the next level?
Well, mentally I'm still the same. Still got that cockiness in prediction, but I have my confidence in my preparation now. So that's the one thing I didn't have before, was my confidence in the way I was preparing, because I didn't know what I was expecting. So now I came back, I knew that I was practicing very tight tracks beforehand, even though I knew the track would be wide open, which I thought was smart, right? You can fly a quad on a tight track, a heavy quad, you shouldn't have a problem flying it on a wide open track. Big mistake, because those quads carry the momentum through those big sweeping turns and over the stadiums where you're literally holding full throttle. And so now if you watch my latest video on my YouTube channel of how to fly a racer 4-fast, which is kind of nagging the other pilots on, you'll see that my courses are a lot more wide open. So I'm really going out 100 yards one way, 100 yards back, and trying to make my courses more similar to that of a DRL track, where it's wide open, as many elevation changes as possible, even still moving into some tight elements, but mainly just focusing on learning the way that quad behaves in all circumstances. And also the quads on the show felt a little bit more heavy and slow than they did at practice. So I've actually put a little bit more of a throttle cap on my quads than what they do on the show. And it makes it, when I went to the New York event that I won, it felt great, because it felt like that was exactly what I'd been flying at home. Whereas when I showed up to Miami, it wasn't the same at all. And there was numerous different reasons for that. Like I was even flying the wrong rates in Miami and all that. But still, now I know how to prepare myself for what the quad's going to feel like, what the tracks are going to feel like. Beforehand, I was flying, some days I get to 100 batteries, but realistically, we didn't have enough batteries. I was killing batteries left and right. We have these new DRL batteries, the Season 4 ones now, which are made by Thunder Power, and they've given us quite a few of these now. So now I can go out there with about 10 batteries. They're constantly off the quad on the charger, but I'm barely able to outpace my charger now, which means I can now fly 120, 130 batteries a day if I don't kill my quad in the process, which I've also focused on continuing that consistency train. I was in finals of level 1 and 2. I never not finished. I always finished the race, no matter what, whether it was in third or first or second, right? Always finished the race. I continued that training going forward, which is, let's keep that consistency, because that gave me a big edge, especially getting into that finals and into the Golden Heat. Being consistent is really a helpful tool. So changed all those things up, changed the way that I'm preparing physically for the DRL races themselves. And we even brought in, I actually was talking to Flexi and Nub a few weeks ago. I said, hey, we should all get together and train. And they were like, yeah, we should come train with you and blah, blah, blah. So up until yesterday, we were all training here together for about a week and a half at Camp Vanny. So we were all flying, and it was really cool for all of us, because Nub definitely, we all got faster. we all improved in one way, shape, or form. For me, I wasn't used to seeing quadcopters in front of me and being in chase mode. With a Racer 4, there's not much you can do with less power, so you have to fly the corners quicker, even if there's only 3 chances. So that was really good. I basically would take off behind these guys and try and catch up, and that would make me go faster. Nub was focusing on consistency, and Fluxy was just trying to get a little bit more fluid through his turns. And I think all 3 of us we all had an advantage over the other and a disadvantage at the same time. We all combined forces for a week and a half, and I think we got to scare it. We're not a team by any means, but we're very supportive of each other. We all are confident that in the next races coming up, we're going to see each other on the podium. And I still know I can beat these guys anyway, so that's no big deal. But it was a great time.
So the best part of this is that Fluxy and Nub were both trash talking so bad on level 2. I mean, so bad. And here you guys are at Camp Vanny.
Yeah.
Right? You're at Camp Vanny. Tell me, like, did that even come up? Was that an outtake that they just caught them at a moment, or like were they super aggravated with you at that time?
First off, when we all discussed that we were going to meet up at my place and fly, or Bob's place, I should correct myself. But I had no idea that these guys in particular were talking that much trash. I don't know if that would have changed me letting them come practice with me. Maybe a little bit. I would have said something. Because and you know this, and anyone in FPV who knows me knows this, it is the best way to get in my head, or to get my attention rather, is to say something about me that's good or bad, right? And watching the show was funny because that was the first heat that I won going into the finals. You know this in our interviews. I can ramble on all day long. And DRL, the interviewer, was like, yeah, keep talking. I was trying to keep myself short. But he's like, no, go ahead, because we'll cut out what we want. And everything.
And
I'm like, okay.
Jet and this we're like, come on, Vanover, it's time to go.
Yeah. They're like, ugh, which they would stop us if we had plenty of time. But they're aggravated because they're crashing and they're making their own mistakes. And the last thing they want to see is me knowing I'm in the golden heat again while they are not. And, I have one simple saying, which is it is okay to talk some trash as long as you can back it up yourself physically. And so it's okay. They both did an excellent job, but those comments I will remember. We're all friends at the end of the day, but when we're under there racing and we're competitors, it is not necessarily the most friendly. And so I have nothing against either one of those guys personally. From a competitor standpoint, I will remember those things going forward and remind them of them at the most convenient time. I look forward to very much.
Oh, that's just, yeah. When you told me prior to us starting this conversation that they were there, I was like, man, that's
everyone was. Yeah. Everyone I've talked to, DRL producers are like, wait, they're the ones coming with you? Like, do you know how much crap they were talking about you? And then I watched the episode. I'm like, I had no idea.
So did you guys watch the episode together?
No, I was actually in Buffalo at the North American Drum Masters race when it happened. But I had all kinds. I was actually watching the Twitter stream because I was co-commentating the race up there with Scully. And then I got to watch the NBC show back home. But I had all my friends who were now into the drum racing texting me saying, these 2 guys are talking a lot of trash about you. I'm like, who? And they said Fluxy and Nub. And I'm like, no way. Because I'm like, what? I'm like, out of all 12 pilots, I figured it'd be like Jet and Nerd, right? But no, they were being pretty respectful. It was even Fluxy. And I'm like, what? Out of all the people to talk trash. And so I was, a little startled about it at the time. But it's all good now, It's not all good, but it's all good now. And, we're friends.
I think that brings up a really good point, though, which is that humility is, how to say this? You are so confident of yourself that there is no demurrament in your attitude whatsoever. And does that I guess the best question is, are you just that arrogant, or is it something else?
I've been trying to work. I've been asked this question by DRL, many people. And I have to reference this guy I started watching on UFC a few years ago named Conor McGregor. I see this video pop up on YouTube of this guy who walks in late to this press conference like he owns the company that he's fighting in. And he's just like, sorry, I'm late. I just don't, care, whatever. But he said something one time when he talked a lot of trash about his opponent. And then it was Nate Diaz at the time, and Nate Diaz beat him, and then he beat him the second time. And he said something really that struck me. And I actually just saw this recently, which is that he says he's cocky in prediction, but he is confident in his preparation. And in victory or defeat, he's always humble. And that's kind of something that you can hate the guy or you can love the guy, but that's a very good quote. And that's something that I can relate to a lot, because I have a lot of people tell me I'm arrogant. And I think there's a strong difference between arrogance and confidence and cockiness. And I definitely, from a just Alex Vanover standpoint, I try and be a nice person. We're all friendly backstage. When we're competitors on the show, that's when the cockiness comes out. That's when my ego comes out. And that's when I guess Vanover comes out, right? I'm definitely cocky in my prediction, but I know at the same time I wouldn't make those statements that I make, those strong statements, if I knew that I wasn't preparing myself the best I physically could. And that's why I make those statements, because I know how much work I'm putting in, and I pretty much know how much work the other guys are putting in. And so that's why, that the only term that really ticks me off a little bit is when people call me arrogant, because I could see myself like rewatching the show. I mean, level 2, I'm looking at myself, I'm like, wow, I really I do look pretty cocky and out there, but I'm not arrogant. I truly don't think so. I just truly think that I'm very confident, and that confidence comes from me knowing how much practice I put in. And quite honestly, someone else brought this up recently. The only reason I'm probably that cocky is because everyone trash talks me. Every single person, it seems like, in journalism, which is fine. That's great. 3 years ago, when I was trying just to get to nationals, the year I won, I had nothing but respect for everyone. I still have nothing but respect for every single pilot out there who I compete against. But I never was trash talking anyone, never boosting up my own ego. Now we're on TV. The show definitely amplifies a lot of this, and we have all these different personalities, merging together. And we all want to be that DRL champion. Now the egos come out. Now it's like, for me, the cockiness is not only a way to kind of defend myself, but also a way to prove myself to other people and to myself as well. So I don't know. I've thought a lot about this recently, and
what's the
confidence can.
What's the you make a statement there that you don't like being called arrogant, but you don't mind being called cocky. What's the difference between the two?
Cocky, I feel like anyone can be cocky, if that makes sense. Like, anyone can make a prediction. I have made many bold claims in the past. And I think the difference between cockiness and arrogance is if I was arrogant, I would make a bold prediction and then not follow up with it, right? Which you could argue that's true because, I didn't go in and dominate DRL. But I would argue that for my very first DRL race, not only did I win more heats back-to-back than any other pilot, not crash at all, but I also won my first level. And that going into level 2, I wasn't prepared for the mental fatigue and everything. That's fine. That's going to be anyone competing in a new league. That's where the confidence in my preparation, that's where my preparation proves itself, right? And that's where it shows that cockiness. Yes, I made a bold prediction, but I knew I had the right preparation going into it. That's why I don't like it when they call me arrogant, because if I was arrogant, I wouldn't be doing well out there, and I'd be making all these bold statements about myself and all the other pilots. That's never true. I always talk the truth, and I hope every single other competitor out there, Nub and Fluxy, also talks the truth as well. It can be fun on television, but all I ask is for people to speak the truth and what really is the real truth.
Going back to the fact that DRL airs on TV, there is a real opportunity for them to edit the situation to bring out the drama and to bring out the, there's probably, they probably have, an hour's worth of interview material between Fluxy and Nub together. Right. Yeah. And they just happen to air the part where they're talking about you. How much of what you saw in the DRL live stream and the DRL actually, the what aired on CBS was legit, and how much of it would you say was perhaps contrived to a certain degree?
I gotta say, to kind of backtrack a little bit, in all those interviews that we do at those levels, we're always asked pretty much about all the other pilots. So in my particular instance, I was the last one to get interviewed. So they were telling the interviewer lady, she was like, a lot of people have made some pretty bold statements about you. And she didn't say names, but she said some of the statements. That's why I could connect the dots, right? And she goes, what is your response to that? And I said this on the show. I said, like me as a person, but you don't have to like me as a competitor. And at that first heat of finals of level 2, Nub and Fluxy, who had just crashed, they were not liking me as a competitor out there like, yeah, I just won that. I'm in the golden heat again, guaranteed now I can relax. It's very – I can't say I don't know that feeling, but I guess I don't because the first 2 levels I got into the golden heat immediately. So I didn't have that stress of knowing there's only 5 more chances left. I always – that's where my consistency edges other people out, I think. But those guys were not happy. And yes, basically they used that as a way to, okay, let's backtrack to the interviews of these guys. Let's talk about Vanover, right? Because, I was kind of the rookie hotshot who had a big mouth coming into this. So everyone was able to say what they wanted about me. So it is a little scripted, I guess, but not really. And I think DRL actually, from what I saw levels 1 and 2 on NBC, and then obviously being there, I think they did a very good job of portraying what was actually in the pilots' minds then. And it was kind of a cool way to cut back between the footage of what the other pilots were saying about me as well.
It really feels like there is a story that they're trying to pull out, which is it's Vanover versus the rest of DRL.
It's me versus everyone.
I really feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it felt like watching, and I've watched level 1 and level 2 probably twice now. It felt like both times it was just like Vanover this, Vanover that, Vanover this, Vanover that, and Vanover comes around, and they've given you the flashiest drone, right? Like, which
can I just say really quick? Yes, cut the crap. It is everyone against in level 1 when there's 3 different times in the final heat of the finals, not golden heat, but the heat before that. Jet had crashed. It was Gab and me. That was it. Everyone else has crashed. And it was just Jet and I at that moment in the golden heat. And not only were all the pilots who had just crashed out next to me cheering on Gab, including Jet, but everyone behind us in the pilot lounge, not just pilots, but producers and everything, are like, come on, Gab, you can get him. And I'm just like, it's everyone. And then the same thing, not really in the golden heat, but in level 2 when it was just Nurk and I, you can bet that even the people who have rivalries with Nurk, every single person was like, come on, Nurk, don't let him get you. Like, every single person was for it. And the commentators brought it up. They didn't make the show. But all the commentators brought up the fact that, it's a rivalry against me. And that is exactly – that's perfectly fine with me. That's exactly what I want. I wanted to come in there, make a big impression on these guys, show them what I had, show them that I wasn't just talking trash coming into that. I had the skills to back it up. But, it's a TV show as well. I'm glad – to see everyone amped up about it and, supporting their favorite pilots. But yes, without a single doubt, it is a rivalry against me. That's perfectly fine because we're all friends at the end of the day. But I don't really need anyone. This isn't a team race. This is me versus everyone else at the end of the day. Same with everyone else versus everyone else. It's one. There's first and then there is last. That is it. And that is what I'm going for. So if everyone's against me, that's perfectly fine. I just put my mind to what I need to do. In fact, anyone who knows me, trash talk fuels me. It's fine. That just gives me more motivation to do well and prove every single person wrong.
The story that they're trying to pull out so far is definitely everybody versus you. And it's almost embarrassing to watch to a certain degree, but I think that it's not unwarranted. It's not unearned.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And I'm not going to pick on them. Fluxy made it into DRL based on the simulator, right?
Right.
And it's not everybody versus Fluxy. You come in with a big reputation behind you.
Yeah,
and I think that is definitely one of the reasons that it's probably so much the rivalry.
That is part of it, and I think, and I still truly I'm trying to make sure I'm careful about what I say because looking back at it, it was way harder than I thought it was, and it makes me rethink bold predictions that I say going forward. But I truly think that everyone else is a little scared because it's not this. I'm the first one of this like next generation of flying. Now, DRL is more than just that. Obviously, as you can see, I might be a better pilot outside of the show, but on the show, we're pretty equal. Like I still think I'm one of the top pilots already, but we're pretty close in skill level. There was that track especially definitely did not showcase my best flying, but it was still a good chance for me to show everyone that I can be just as fast as you. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm just the first person of this next wave that is going to come in. It's a matter of time. You have Heads of FPV. Yep. You have Min Chen. You have all these guys that are about 2 more seasons away. Now, will DRL bring those guys on? I don't know. It took me 3 years basically since I won nationals to get on DRL. So it was more than, and partially because of age, but it was more than just that. It was other things. They wanted to see a big following. They wanted to see a personality there, and kind of my cockiness, my ego coming out. That helped a lot. But I think these guys are rivaling. I feel like it's not just a rivalry against me. I feel like it's a rivalry against the next generation that they see coming. And whether they will admit it or not does not matter to me. But regardless, take DRL out of the picture. They know that it's coming. It's a matter of time. And it's good because now I'm seeing these guys after levels 1 and 2 practicing way harder than they ever have in their entire lives. Because they see it. They have no choice now. It's the future, as Craig Hummer said in level 1. And I love this quote because it does embolden me. But say hello to the future. It has arrived. It's here now. There's no more waiting for these guys. This is it. It's time to go fast. And now that I have a taste of what DRL's like, and now that I know what I can train for, that is very deadly. I said it coming in here before. I told you on the last interview, I said, I'm going to go in there regardless, win or lose, I'm going to learn a lot. And that is going to be very dangerous because now I know what I can prepare for, and knowing that's going to make it very hard on the other pilots. So now I think you're going to see DRL racing get even better than it was in levels 1 and 2 because now everyone is going 150% into it. Whether that'll be enough to stop me, I don't know. But it's really good.
I don't disagree with Alex's definition of arrogance, which is that you are arrogant when you say you're going to do something and then you don't follow it up. But you are confident when you say you're going to do something and you do follow it up. Alex so far has followed it up. But there's still a lot of DRL left. And I hope that he does not come off as arrogant this time, but comes off as confident. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Roto Riot. They have provided great, awesome content for the web, and they've also provided this episode for you today. Go check them out. Remember, Roto Rollins gets you 10% off your next type train motor purchase. I'd also like to thank my patrons. My patrons and my sponsors make this possible. You can check my Patreon link below in the description or at the end of the video. I thank you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.